our friends and neighbors, viewers, listeners, readers, friends, countrymen. No Romans though. Hell with those guys. We don't need them.
No Romans.
What did I just say in the chats?
Oh yeah. All
Like
right.
quite literally.
Yeah. Well, welcome to So Local Live. I am Greg Smithwick. That's Sam Ronan, and that is CJ Garcia. How about them Buccaneers, CJ?
Oh, it was great. I love it. It was more so the trash talking afterwards against all the Cowboys fans.
You know, it's especially sweet when it's the Cowboys.
Oh,
That's
it's the best thing. They could lose the rest of the season. You beat the Cowboys. That's all that matters.
there you go. Please don't say that because 1 in 15 is not a part of Buccaneers history that I'd like to relive. I was there for. Look, I remember when they lost all of their first season and then most of the next season before they won a game.
Back in the sombrero.
Oh yeah. Do you know that I'm a trivia footnote? I was the last voice ever heard on the old in the old sombrero.
Really?
It's true.
You. I am speaking to a relic.
Yes, and yeah, Dick Grip voice, and I was the last. So at least I'm bookended with a legend from.
That's
back
pretty cool. That's awesome.
That was a really cool job actually. That was lots of fun. So we got some stuff to talk about today. I want to make sure to thank all of our Patreon supporters. You can go to Patreon. Just all you got to do is search So Local Pasco, and you will find our Patreon page. There is only one level of membership on our Patreon page because we are not producing any extra content for that yet. We may get there, but for right now, $10 a month makes you a Patreon supporter, and you get our undying gratitude and friendship. And we will, within reason, drive to where you are and fix a flat tire if that happens to you. But only for Patreon supporters. So
it's like AAA service.
I know they've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty, but we can at least we can help that way. So thank you to all of you who are contributing on Patreon. That includes our friend Fred and several other folks whose names just completely escape me right now. Kelly Smith, realtor, and of course CJ is bringing us a pretty extraordinary advertiser. You want to talk a little bit about the law group? Tell us some good things about that.
Sure. Yeah, actually, we just this past weekend, Sam and Tiffany joined us on a little workcation, staycation, or something in Kissimmee. Attorney CJ Zaya and his law firm Zaya Law. Him and I go back since I was in high school. It's been a while. I consider him a great friend, a man I respect a lot. But one of the biggest things with him is that he gives back to the community. It's very, very difficult to find someone that's really willing to give into programs such as yours, or just philanthropic efforts, not expecting too much in return or anything at all. We've done some fun and we don't get anything out of it, but that's kind of the of giving. You're not expecting anything in return. So it's really cool to be able to work with him and his firm. We were at a Kissimmee parade, the biggest Puerto Rican parade in the state, which was
Nice.
a lot of fun. Sam and Tiffany were able to participate and have some fun there. And we do crazy stuff. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna have the honor of being with him here in Manatee County. As crazy as this county is, they're gonna be presenting Bold Voter, which is a nonprofit we have, with a proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month tomorrow morning. So that's pretty cool. Especially in this area where that's not something that they would ever really consider. I think it's pretty special that we have. I don't know if it's the name rack or if it's the wherewithal to be able to spook them enough that.
It's the awesome work that you're doing. We'll say it. You don't have to. That's.
It's here's the problem. That it's very, very. People sometimes don't understand the amount of effort you have to do behind closed doors to get certain things accomplished, and so there's always the naysayers and the people are like, well, why are you accepting that? Well, because who else will? And the fact that they're recognizing it, especially in Manatee County, especially with this super hyper right crazy board right now, I think it's significant. It's the little things like that, and the next time I want to be more advocacy than just the proclamation, but you got to start somewhere. So it's pretty cool. But that's what they do. They do a lot of PI, personal injury, slip and falls, some criminal work, immigration. CJ is one of the few attorneys in town that has won murder trials. He's very good at what he does. And because of that, it's always good to have an attorney friend. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It never hurts to have an attorney friend, just like it never hurts to have a doctor friend.
Yep,
You
that's
know,
true. That's true. Okay, so is your mic not working properly, Greg? You sound like you're on the phone. You guys have? Can you hear me?
I
Okay.
can hear you pretty
I can
clear.
hear you, but it doesn't sound quite as buttery smooth, I think is what Fred's trying to say.
Could just be the rain.
How about now?
Is it your
Any better now?
voice?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello.
There you go. It's
That
a little
sounds
more
better.
crisp.
Better? Yeah. Okay. Need
Yeah.
to break through the compressor a little. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. New setup. I haven't used it in this room yet, so I got everything put back together. I haven't really done any test recording, so I apologize for the
Yeah.
mic trouble there. You can't have a mic like this and not use it correctly. That's it's worth more than my car. So, so CJ, let me ask you: do you know? Mishi put something across my attention the other day when I was doing 3 other things about. Do I hear this right? That Michael Flynn and his band of merry misfit
Here in
idiots
Sarasota, baby.
Uh-huh.
As a
they're
matter of fact, before the primary election, they did a Trump train here in Manatee County. I'm telling you, it is batshit crazy here. The people that I have to work with in the political spectrum here is enough to make you want to pull your own teeth. But understanding that you have to work with the powers that be, regardless of what's there, and being able to put them in check because of it is a very, very difficult thing to accomplish. And right now it's political season.
Oh,
So I'm getting pressures from everyone like, why are you doing this? And why are you just like, man, fuck you. If you don't like it, you do it. I'm at that point now, because it's not, there's no benefit to it. I don't benefit from people shitting on me on the left or the right, in between,
right.
but I know that it's making some type of advances. But yeah, the good old Michael Flynn was live and in the flesh here, and they worship that dude like there's no tomorrow. It is
That's nuts.
absolute insanity. Oh,
That's
you're
nuts.
telling me, man. And it's here. Like they started at the DeSoto Square Mall, went all the way around town with Trump 2024
Jeez.
flags. Like
Well,
if it's insane.
we're having the same problem up here where some of the people that we were very, very concerned about during the Black Lives Matter protest summer, they come from here. Some of the people that showed up on national television that were at the Capitol are the people that the mayor of Newport Richey defended when he told us we should all shut up and go away. And
the guy with the podium
you.
is from Lakewood Ranch,
Right.
here in Manatee County.
Oh yeah, that guy lives like right down the road from my in-laws. I've driven by his house.
It's insane. And they're here. Like if you look at the electors for 2020 election in Florida, look at those list of names. I guarantee you, more than 50% Sarasota, Manatee County.
Yep.
I
have my beliefs as to why that is, but nobody believes me because they think it's a conspiracy theory. But
Tampa
whatever.
Bay area also has like a leading number of neo-Nazi groups and Klan members, so consistencies. It's not a Venn diagram; it's just a circle.
It's a circle.
That's it. It's just there.
Just a circle.
Yeah. It was very disturbing that activists here that we know are good intentioned and not, I don't want to say all radicals are crazy, but these are not crazy radical people. They're definitely have a view, and it's definitely left of what a lot of folks here would like to hear. But they were telling us these people are threatening, they're dangerous, and sure enough, on January 6th, they were all up there in the Capitol. And for the mayor of a city here to go off on us for being concerned about these people who went and committed an insurrection at the nation's capital. That's what you told us Antifa was going to do. Remember?
It's an act of treason. Literally.
Well, maybe they did. Maybe it was all Antifa. Maybe it wasn't.
We were concerned that that's what they were going to do. Oh no, that's not what happened. It's the other. It's the other side that actually went and committed acts of violence at the Capitol.
Did you see that photo that's been making rounds today about Trump over there in Dulles? Yeah. I really hope they do have his ass under federal custody.
They don't. He's at his Virginia Country Club. It's gotten worse because what happened was they went out on the 6th fairway in a bunch of golf carts. It's him, Hannity, Kevin McCarthy, Eric Trump. I'm trying to remember who else was Devin Nunes, and they're out there on the golf course having a meeting. There's no golf clubs in sight. So they went out, it's a mafia meeting. It's what the mob used to do, where they would go out on the street and cover their mouths because he's terrified now that he's being bugged everywhere. They had some sort of a strategy meeting this afternoon on his golf course out there in Virginia, where they weren't being eavesdropped, where they weren't being surveilled.
Allegedly,
pictures from that. No, there's pictures from that. So they went and had a meeting out there on the golf course today. No golf clubs in the carts. I saw photos of it on Twitter, and it really looks like a scene from The Sopranos out there. But
it's insane.
It's members of Congress, current members of the House, and now that we're out there at this meeting, at least one. So just nuts, man. No, so he's not in custody yet. And guess what? I don't expect that to happen until after the election. It would be cool if it did, but maybe they're sealed indictments. I guess that's possible. I was excited about it last night because it did look kind of weird, him showing up at the airport in his golf shoes and a windbreaker.
Yeah. But
unannounced.
He's a sloppy dude.
Yeah, but he would have, if it would have been for something positive, he would have been bragging about it. Oh, I'm going to the rally at blah, we're going to rile up the base.
Maybe.
So I don't know. But I think he's cooked. I think that bad things are going to happen. I just hope it happens in a timely enough fashion to have an impact before he, I don't care if he announces at this point. He's going to get indicted. And he's going to get indicted for espionage, which is way bigger than what I thought we might be looking at here. But the obstruction of justice is really clear. I mean, they told him, we know you have those documents. Don't move those documents. Then he moved those documents. That's obstruction of justice. I mean, that's pretty open and shut. So, especially if they have surveillance photo of people moving boxes out of that
in plain sight.
Yeah,
it's insane, and that's the balls on this dude thinking that he can get away with it just because it's him.
Right.
You get sloppy when you get that big of an ego, and it's easy to get caught. Trust me, it's a tale as old as time. That's just what it works. But yeah, I'm excited for that.
Fred Eater, hi Fred. I've heard frequently that the entire insurrection would. Oh, that wasn't what I meant to highlight. I meant to highlight this one, which is a question, which is Steve Bannon going to spend time in prison? Yep,
I'm sure.
He's already headed to prison. This is an additional problem. This is now. My favorite part of this is that this is what Trump pardoned him for. But the state of New York, pardons from the president are for federal crimes. And so the state of New York is using the same evidence, same witnesses, same crime, and they're charging
state crime.
Yep. So he's in big trouble. And yay. So I heard somebody theorizing that the reason he wears 3 or 4 shirts all the time is because they had a low-life cousin that got arrested a lot, and the rule where they lived was they would only give you 1 shirt, 1 pair of pants, but if you wore extra clothes in, you could wear those clothes. So their theory was that he wears the extra shirt, so if he goes to jail, he'll have extra clothes to wear.
In case he's just caught. But you can buy that on the inside.
Damn, that's kind of smart, though, not going to lie.
I'm wondering if Trump will send him some canteen money.
Wow.
Fred's second question, sexy question? It is kind of sexy. It's possible Trump will actually stand trial.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I really hope Biden doesn't pardon. I really hope they just go all the way. Like this whole, it used to be, like Nixon, right? One thing he understood, at least he left. Right, he said, "You know what?
Right.
It got too hot. I'm leaving." This dude does not want to go away, and it's so. I don't believe that he should be pardoned for anything. Fuck him, Make an example out of him.
I don't think he'll get pardoned, but do I think he'll make a deal of some kind to keep him?
I hope they don't.
Never run for office again to not go to prison. I mean, I would.
If he's in prison, he's not running for office anyway. So
again, if what's happening about the espionage case and the classified and missing documents that don't belong to him, the whole argument that he has some sort of privilege over these is crazy. It's crazy. It's just not. It's not a thing. But even if Biden were to pardon him, which I don't think will happen. He still faces 6 or 7 other grand jury and state investigations at this point. So, I can't see Fani Willis backing off. I can't see A.G. James in New York backing off. And those are state things. So Biden may be able to pardon him for a federal crime, but that doesn't mean that he hasn't committed other crimes that he could be held responsible for. Do I think there'll be a trial? I don't think so. I think they'll make a deal. They'll make some sort of a deal that keeps him out of prison on the federal stuff in exchange for him never running for office again. I think I honestly, that would be okay with me because he loses all of his leverage he loses, the ego shot to him will kill him. So I think that I would love to see a trial, but I don't think it's necessary, and I'm not sure we'll get there before he's held accountable in another way.
Yeah.
So,
or he dies of natural causes. The dude has got to be having his blood
Right.
pressure and his lack of sleep, like literally, like
Yeah.
he's never gotten this hot, honestly.
Yeah.
And that'll get you because
Yep.
when you sleep confidently and now you really don't,
right.
that does things to your body.
And now he knows people in his house are talking, right? People inside the room are talking. That's gotta be a ball buster.
Call is coming from inside the house.
Yes. I hope he's terrified.
No,
hey,
that is a sexy thought.
Janet Varnell Warwick is in the comments with us tonight.
Yeah,
Janet.
let's talk about Janet, man.
Vote for Janet, save the planet.
Vote for Janet, save the planet.
Automatic slogan right there.
Oh yeah, and I hear she has an amazing field director. That guy knows his shit.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. Are you hearing otherwise?
No. No, I know her field director to be awesome. I knew it before she did.
Oh, well, that's good. That's relieving.
That's you, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, just make
that's me.
He had to like verify. He's like, wait.
Talk about Janet, Florida House 61 candidate, where she is, how people can get involved and be a part of that.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, well, first off, let me just say that Florida for Change stuff and Janet World, totally separate things, just for legal reasons. But yeah, my day job, my adult job out in the world is trying to get Janet Varnell Warwick elected over in State House 61. It's a really interesting area. Jennifer Webb used to be the state rep, and it's Gulfport, it's the beaches in southern Pinellas, Seminole, suburban St. Pete. It's a very dynamic area. And the Democratic Party wasn't really paying a lot of attention to it because they kind of saw a big number, a lot of Republicans, and they got spooked. But fortunately, we like the joke that Janet has a reality warping field. Okay, so she says it's not luck. I think some of it is luck, but she likes to say that she has put out a lot of good energy into the world and then she comes and collects. So we're coming to collect that good energy. And fortunately, Janet is a person that is always leading headfirst at the front of her armies, fighting her own wars, and she doesn't back down. She does not back down from a fight. And that's what we got. We got a fight. We have Linda Cheney, who's a very reactionary, very dangerous Republican state rep over there. And I mean, what do you want? She's been bad on the environment. She supports a total abortion ban. She supported the 15-week abortion ban on every single issue you can imagine. She fails people. She fails basic human decency. And we need someone good to run against her. And I'm fucking thankful that we have someone like that.
That's awesome. She would be welcome to join us on the show at any time.
She knows. She knows.
Okay.
Hey, listen, she's a busy lady. Beyond running for office, she's also a very successful and very accomplished consumer protections attorney, constantly taking cases. She's suing big corporations. She's suing private equity firms. She's going after police forces. She sued Trump a couple of years ago. If you remember, he had a staffer who had alleged sexual indecency, something along those lines. She was part of that legal team. So,
shocked, I tell you.
Busy lady. She's doing the most. That's why I'm out in the field trying to.
I think Greg says he's shocked that Trump was sued for something like that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I can't.
It's a little weird that it hasn't happened more, if you think about it.
Oh, it has.
No, I know. I'm saying, like, in terms of lawsuits.
Right.
It's weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah, I will tell our viewers and listeners, I met Janet. I didn't know she was the candidate when I met her. We met in the parking lot outside when we were going to launch the canvas in St. Pete. And just charming and wonderful, and we had a really great conversation. And you should seek her out. And that's a campaign you can contribute to. Look, we talk a lot about people are focused so much on the bullshit with Trump and at the presidential level that we forget that a lot of what's wrong for us now is at the state and local government level. Those are races that we have been ignoring. That we don't think we can win, but we have to be in every fight. That's why I ran for mayor. I didn't have a hope in hell of winning the mayor's race, even in my small town, because I'm poor. But I ran because it felt like there was nobody at the table to talk for people that rent their home in the city that I lived in, or that are not do not see all police as heroes. Nobody was speaking for those folks, and that's why I ran. And we didn't do great, but that's my point is even if you don't do great, if you're in the fight, it's going to inspire other people to get in the fight with you. That, well, if that idiot can run for mayor, I can run for something. And that's definitely true. They set a pretty low bar for mayor in Port Richey when you attack the SWAT team.
Right.
It's, I was like, I could run for mayor now. But my point is, you may think there are things that would prohibit you from being a viable candidate or a good candidate, and you're probably wrong. So you should talk to somebody about running for something. We're past that point in this cycle, but there are always school board races, city council races, county commission races, mosquito control board seats. There's lots of ways for you to begin the process.
You guys have that. We don't have that in Hillsborough. You guys have a million of them.
Yeah. Well, mosquitoes, that's because our mosquito control board sucks. Oh no, you meant mosquito control board candidates.
Yeah.
That was used to be the entry level position up here. That's what you ran for first, to show that you could fundraise and you could get attention and be a decent candidate.
I'm trying to imagine fundraising for mosquito control.
The current guy's not doing shit. Slap around it when you're running your ads. So
what if you were at
that's the commercial right there,
and then you had a mosquito bite you? Is that like an immediate no? Fuck this guy. This guy's
yeah. Yeah, I don't even
reach, and he's suddenly just like,
my opponent is pro mosquito.
Exactly.
Oh man,
he wants to inject you with a West Nile.
That's right. Well, we actually have a candidate for it. We have a guy named Zika that is a state legislator up here.
That is amazing.
I couldn't believe that guy actually won. Pasco County's a weird place, though. So
Florida is turning into a weird place.
Yeah. So the one thing that I want to talk about today is a creative loafing article. I'm going to put the link in the comments here. Let me copy it out. And
cool. Me too. I feel like most of our show is just being like, I read a cool thing on creative loafing.
Yeah. Well, they're the place to go for actual news now.
Yes, they are. And it is always Justin Garcia. God bless Justin Garcia. Justin Garcia makes our community better, safer, more informed.
Absolutely true. And he was up here for the summer that we've been talking about. The Newport Richey mayor went on a rant at last week's city council meeting, basically saying people that want to seek public records should just go away. That they are now clearly upset that they found out that we've been reading their text messages for a while, and they lashed out at the people that show up at city council meetings, which is really funny because 4 years ago, I remember Rob Marlowe being really encouraging to those of us that wanted to show up and be a part of city government. Come and speak at Vox Pop and be involved. Yeah. That's fine as long as you're saying things that Rob Marlowe likes and agrees with. But the minute you stray off into, hey, how come your police department are a bunch of Nazis or are sexually abusing teenagers? Now we're the problem, right? This is always how it goes. When you speak to power, power wants to tell you that you're wrong for speaking up. Not that what they're doing is wrong or what they've allowed is wrong or what they've supervised over is wrong.
Right.
You're wrong because you're making the city look bad by talking about it. And I'll tell you, as a counseling professional, that's how families stay sick. When you can't talk about the problem in your family system, without being punished for it, guess what? The problem's never going to get better. And in city government, if you can't talk about the problem, it's not going to get better. And there is a problem. Now, this police officer that apparently fondled a teenager has been fired. A police chief fired him, but didn't press charges, which is interesting to me. Said he haven't had enough evidence to fire him, but not enough to press charges. That's fascinating. Police unions are pretty good at defending their officers that get caught up in these things. That's a bad thing, but police unions are not like real unions. So I'm really curious as to the logic there of not charging someone with a police officer with molesting a teenager. How did we not press charges on this?
Yeah, especially in a community where all of the horrible reactionary right-wing politics seem to be motivated by like a concern of a pedophile army out there.
Oh,
and yet we're very protective of rumors. Cop. Yeah. When it's a cop, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as long as you had a gun when you were grooming.
Yeah, lunatics, all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lori. Dave Coleman. Kim isn't going away. Kim Bogart is the police chief's name in Newport Richie. This
Yeah.
is the craziest thing for me because I've been cordial with Kim in the past. I've known him for years. Not really well. It's not like we got to dinner together or anything, but we recognize each other in passing. He has put an officer on the homeless coalition community continuum of care group, which is they come to the meetings once a month, and that's where you learn what other services are available for homeless people. So there's been a Newport Richie presence there for a while, and Kim Bogart is the one that made that happen. So there's that thing where you can be okay in one aspect, but there's a lot of heinous shit going on here, and it really does need to be addressed. And I just don't see Newport Richie now. Clearly, we asked for an apology for the racist remarks and the Holocaust jokes.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. And they renewed the city attorney, by the way. So the city council of Newport Richie is not going to take any action that addresses the concerns of those of us who have gone to their meetings and said, you're having a problem and you need to address it. So what's going to happen instead is they're going to pay millions of dollars in lawsuit settlements, money that they could spend on, I don't know, low-cost housing programs, instead of legal fees and settlements, but they're not going to address the problem. So we're just going to have to sue them until they scream uncle. That's how that's going to go.
Whew, man, that sounds like that city council needs to go.
Yeah.
Uncle.
People need to run against all of them.
Well, I will give some credit to Peter Altman, who did say we should not renew the city attorney until we have time to talk about this some more. I don't know how he voted on the renewal, but I don't think it had to be unanimous. So he at least spoke up and said that he recognized that there was some validity to what was being said about the police department. So
that's the barest of bare minimums.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I'd call that the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like someone holding a raincoat and acknowledging that you're getting poured on. Like, okay, cool. Right. You gonna do anything about it?
So how do we let's move on. How do we feel about the death of the Queen?
Wow, that is a hard transition.
Just peeled the Band-Aid right off.
I mean, that is ostensibly the topic of the episode, yeah?
All right, so let me take 15 seconds and say this. What we're going to discuss next may disturb some of you, and if that's the case, you should probably have a look at that, especially if you're not from England. If you're not from England and you're really invested in people saying things that are harsh about the monarchy in general and the Queen in particular, you should have a look at that. Why are you so invested in that? I lived in Canada for several years, and they still have the Queen on all their money, and they would say things to me like, "Oh, that president of yours is all fucked up," and blah, blah, blah. And I would say, "Why is someone else's Queen on your money?" Because it was odd to me, and I understand why white people in Canada might like I understand why white Anglo people in Canada might like the English Queen. The French in Canada certainly do not, but it was. I mean, every school had pictures of Queen Elizabeth in it. They are not part of England, and yet the first nation, or the first Canadian native tribe that successfully sued for control of their own affairs was the Sechelt Band, where I lived out in Western British Columbia. They have a narrow neck of land. The town of Sechelt is a narrow neck of land between two big mountainous regions, and the Sechelt Band owns that little narrow neck of land, or owned a lot of it. Wanted to put a gas station on the main highway in the late 60s, and the Queen's basically they have to have the Crown's permission to do anything on their land, or at least then did in Canada, and they were not allowed to build a gas station. So what happened? Petrocan, white people moved in like quarter mile from where they were going to put the gas station, put up a gas station. They didn't have to ask the Crown for permission to build a gas station. And so the Sechelt Band sued the government of Canada over this. They eventually won, and there have been reparations. They've gotten land back. Things have gotten better. But I want people to understand this is not ancient history. This was happening when like the $6 million man was on TV. When the Pittsburgh Steelers were a dynasty. This is not ancient history. This is pretty recent, and it happens like that all over the world. And it's not just the English monarchy, but that's what we're here to talk about today, because that's what's in the news today. So there, I said that. If you're going to be offended about people taking monarchy to task and colonialism to task and colonizing to task, you might want to think about that. Recognize your privilege. CJ, what do you got to say about it?
Where's Henry Kissinger?
Right?
Let's start with that.
Assholes, let's start there.
The dude is like literally, he found the
He's
fountain
99
of
now.
forever
Did you know
life.
that?
It's
He's
just
99.
there. Yeah,
Right.
it's insane. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Henry
I
Kissinger has survived. He's lived a good full life, and at this point, if he dies, it's not even going to be satisfying.
at
No.
this point he survived multiple pandemia. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
He survived everything.
it's insane. You know, some people just have that luck.
No justice.
But well, I think also you know, as far I've been living for these memes of the last 3 or 4 days. It's just been amazing. But I think also the way that meme culture has evolved over time is a way of communication, especially for the younger generation. You know,
Right.
and I say that very with a lot of difficulty because I consider myself still to be in that younger generation, but I just don't get them. Like they're like way over there. I mean, I agree with a lot of the things they say and do, but the way that they communicate is just so different.
Right.
And I think that all of these, what people are, all these sensitive people that are, well, you need to respect the death or whatever, what they're failing to recognize is that in a way it's very educational.
Yeah.
This meme culture is meant to educate by being sarcastic in nature and very tongue-in-cheek, but there's a lot of truth to what is being shared, and it's an easier way for a lot of people to digest this information. So if anything, this has shown to me how effective this meme culture is. And I've been wondering, like, what's the way that we can use this in local politics? Because, I mean, the information flows it's true. It flows so quickly and it's so effective, and it makes people, it gives you that shock factor,
Right.
And yeah, I mean, was she a grandmother and a person and a woman? And sure, she was things. But then she was also a lot of other things that
everyone
so,
is.
We're all things, in some way. But to go say, "Oh, I'm so sorry for the loss," it's like, and the first thing I read is like, "Oh wow, another one bites the dust."
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the idea of death scares people. So when you make fun of death, it in a way it also scares them, and they make you feel or seem insensitive. Not that I give a shit, but I just think that's part of it. Our own psyche too. Our own mortality. But I just think everything that's happened over this monarch dying has just once again proven how this next generation just gets it. And they're ruthless.
They have access to
I'm
more
here for it.
information than anyone ever has, all at once.
Yeah.
Well, and the guy
they use
that got yanked out of the crowd today for yelling at the procession in Scotland looked to be about 19 years old. He was a very young guy. And I got to tell you, it's got to take a lot of bravery in Scotland to walk up to that railing and start yelling. He had to know he was going to get yoked up, and yanked off that line. But it was only one kid. So like I think for some people the Queen to them is like the flag to us, like we have a jingoistic connection to it, whether we and we don't think any more deeply than that about it. And what allowed me to access to understanding how Black people felt, like about the kneeling for the flag thing particularly, is when I realized that when I go back and I look at film, because this is before the age of video, of what happened at the Pettus Bridge, right? And what happened in protests in the 60s, where kids were getting beaten down with billy clubs and shot. The people that were beating them and shooting them were all wearing American flags on their uniforms.
Oh yeah.
Right. They were state troopers, or they were National Guardsmen, or, so I may see that flag differently than somebody that had that experience. Every member of a community of color who's ever been beaten by a policeman, that policeman was wearing an American flag on their uniform. And that's what allowed me to kind of break through my own privilege and understand that for all the friends I have, like my friend Tim Brandewee, who has literally carried coffins home with flag draped coffins of service members that were his friends and family members. There are a lot of other Americans whose experience of that flag is very, very different. And the same thing is true of the royal family in England. For every person that has that kind of jingoistic connection to her as the queen that got them through World War II, et cetera, et cetera, there are a lot of people. Well, she wasn't the queen then, but there are a lot of people that are English or that are members of the Commonwealth countries that have a very, very different experience of the English monarchy. And we need to, part of my job as a white, middle-aged, privileged guy is recognizing my own privilege and recognizing that other people's experience may not be the same as mine.
Well, on that note, can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is an important, I think, wake-up call for people that think that we should be more civil in talking about this. This is a map of every country that's been invaded by England and, the monarchy at some point or another. It's only 22 countries that never got invaded.
That's astonishing.
Right. I mean, look at these. And a lot of these are just the countries they couldn't reach or countries that other people had colonized.
I was just going to say, and I'm going down the list of just the African countries and saying Germany, the other countries also invaded those countries. It was like they could take them away from Portugal or Germany or
right. And,
Spain,
you don't really
France, there was a few different options there.
Someone else licked it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk briefly about that, about and especially our friends who are of Central American, South American heritage. We've been the imperial power in their world for many decades now, for a century or more in some cases. And when we say things about those countries being banana republics, we need to remember part of what kept
the
them.
Reason they're still to this day.
We put our
they have literally
on the eye of their democracies all over South and Central.
They've literally stopped revolutions from happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or created other.
They wanted to exactly.
Right.
Well, it's like something that I said to you yesterday, CJ, was Westerners are more and better phrased in the monsters we created than our own monsters who created the conditions to create those monsters.
It's the experience. You have some experience with it, so you do it better than the guy before.
Yeah, the average Floridian could probably wax philosophical about Fidel Castro, but we won't talk about the dictators that we propped up before Fidel Castro that led to Fidel Castro. We don't talk about the things we did in South America that led to the Venezuelan government today. We put our dick in a hornet's nest.
The shit in Nicaragua, over there in Nicaragua, Guatemala.
Right.
At very little cost to us as Americans, or even very little awareness as Americans of how how horrible we were. And
they're the first ones that they want to send back to their countries,
Right. Yeah.
What are you doing here?
I'm a history reader, but lots of people aren't. Like United Fruit Company was literally a CIA created company so they could infiltrate labor movements in South and Central America. That's why they did it. We've been bad actors in those places for just as much, maybe for not as long as countries like England and France, but here we are, right? So I would love to have an America where we recognize ourselves more in the bad side.
Now with all this book banning and whitewashing and all of that, we're going backwards.
Yeah, but Ron DeSantis is the governor of education freedom.
That's right.
That's what it says right in his ad. Freedom and education.
Freedom to educate.
Unless you want to read Mouse.
Yeah. He's in the news today talking about how he's putting on the armor of God. That's his big quote today. He's putting on the armor of God. He's going up against pure evil.
Charlie Crist?
Apparently.
If you say the word pure evil to me and I have to think of 10 people, Charlie's not even in the top 150.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unless you think being boring is evil, but
pure evil. Charlie Crist. I don't see
pure
it.
Evil.
I don't see it.
It's like watching mayo dry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally, like it's well, but that's again, it goes to show this pro Judeo religious movement, Christian
Hey, leave
movement.
us out of that.
It's
You
look.
know, they've stopped using the phrase Judeo-Christian. The guy who's running, oh God, I'm blanking
Oh,
on
of
his
course,
name.
they
He's trying to
can't
be
even
governor
saying
of
it themselves
Pennsylvania.
now.
His campaign manager actually
Mastriano.
said, "We need to stop saying Judeo-Christian.
Judeo.
The Jews need to get down with us. These are our values." And you know what? He's fucking right. Like, you have your values, I got my values. You know, stop wrapping us up into it.
But it is it. But that's like here, like for example, Sarasota has a huge Jewish community, huge, and the Sarasota school board has literally attacked the entire Jewish community in
Of
Sarasota
course.
to the degree that right now in these latest primary elections, you have
Yeah.
elected people who are putting up Nazi symbols and hanging around with the Proud Boys
Uh-huh.
on election night, celebrating
Right.
the white power symbol and everything. And it's just like, it's never a bad time to move, especially with these motherfuckers around. But then these are the people that are making the decisions, educating children and all that, this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
And this is where, I have this. There's the activist side,
Yeah.
there's the realistic side, there's the political side, and somehow those things have to blend. And though I love activism and cussing at people and giving them the finger,
It is great.
but then it's very exhilarating and it's fulfilling in the moment. But then there's also the reality of, we got to do more than just that to be able to stop the bleeding, because right now we're hemorrhaging, like insane hemorrhage. Like you need a fucking, a lot of blood, and I don't see any blood coming.
Yeah.
I don't see it. I mean, Sam, you're on the streets.
Yeah.
Greg, you guys are on the streets. People don't, either they don't care or they don't care enough, and a lot of that is cyclical and it's historical. It's economy. They're
Yep.
so pressed for money.
Yeah.
They're only worried about that. So the majority of people are in survival mode right now.
Yeah, we keep people hungry enough and tired enough. They don't have
They're
time.
not going to care about anything else other than resting and eating,
Right.
surviving. And that's where I think the dangerous part falls in, because that's where, the turnout in the primaries was fucking horrible. I don't know what it was like in Hillsborough or Pinellas.
It was a lot better in Hillsborough, Pinellas, I tell you what.
In Manatee County, it was 30%.
Wow.
And in Osceola, which I have a few things going on over there, was 17%.
Wow.
Whoa. Ooh.
And the Hispanic community, and Sam, you were witness. We were just in Kissimmee. Beautiful, thriving, vibrant, culturally just amazing group of people that live there and they do business there. 4% of Latinos voted.
Wow.
Well,
So
there's not enough people doing engagement with that community. Like historically, that's just always what happens.
Here's the scary part. The GOP here locally is starting to do Spanish ads.
Yeah.
They're starting to hire bilingual people.
They know what they're doing.
They are saying, and I think to myself, and I said this, I've always said that the Latino community as a whole in the United States is like a sleeping lion.
Yeah.
One day it's going to wake up and roar and realize we're fucking lions and we can own this shit.
Yeah.
And then everybody can go fuck themselves. But we're too busy being fed NyQuil so we can stay asleep. The scare tactics that are used. So when I start seeing the GOP start getting interested at a local level, there's some decisions that have already been made up the chain of command for them to start doing it at a local level.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are very extremely organized. So that only tells me the numbers are starting to change to where they can no longer ignore it.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if in a couple of years there's a Republican president that pushes for amnesty.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Well,
because Reagan did it.
Am I wrong in remembering that George W. Bush wanted to do that? But
yes, he did. Reagan pushed it too. The reason my dad became a citizen was because of the legislation that was passed under Ronald Reagan. My dad had a very pro-Republican mindset for a very long time until Donald Trump. And it was nothing other than he gave me something that benefited my life. Because without that, he would not have been able to do so many other things.
Right.
So I see it coming.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've been beating the fucking wall for years. I got shit on when I started talking crap about the Obama administration because they were the worst for deportations and the immigrant community.
The porter in
You know,
chief.
like
Yeah.
literally, and it's like, well, you can like fuck you, okay? I don't care. He may have been great for you, but that doesn't mean he was great for me or at least my
Yeah.
community as a whole. You know, and I've noticed. So, anyways, all that to say, it's kind of scary what I see going on, and when you see it at a local level, it
Yeah.
should concern people. But again, Charlie Crist hiring the wrong people already, and
Well,
Sam, that was very tongue in cheek. He gets it.
yeah.
It doesn't give me
He
any hope
hired
because you're
one wrong
hiring.
person. Let's be clear.
But
I missed that.
one rotten
It's okay.
apple, just the whole barrel, right?
Right.
And that's the problem, you know, for trying to be peaceful and to show kumbaya bullshit.
Yeah.
You sentence yourself. This isn't about being nice to Nikki Fried. Fuck her too. No, this is about fuck Ron DeSantis. Who gives a fuck about somebody else's feelings?
Right.
This is a struggle, a battle, but they just don't get it. They're trying to run. That's why I believe we need to go younger, you know, even younger than me and Sam, because this up and coming generation, it's scary. I did an event with the Distinguished Women of Southwest Florida. I was a judge. I was invited by a good friend of mine who's on their board.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of young women, very intelligent, very involved in their communities. And I did interviews. It was very scary doing those interviews.
Tell me.
Because I mean, I don't ask political questions, but I do ask questions. So my icebreaker was, what do you think about this book ban? And these are sophomore, juniors, seniors in high school.
Yeah.
Right. And then one says, well, you know, I don't believe in it. I think everyone should be free to choose what they want to read. Cool. And they're still young. They're developing their what they believe and their thoughts. But then like a bunch of them were like, oh yeah, there's a lot of those books are inappropriate. I think we should monitor what kids are reading, blah blah blah. So I'm like, so what books do you not agree with? They're like, well, you know, there's a bunch of them. Okay.
Right.
And then I said, what do you use for your news sources?
Right.
That's when my question comes in. Like, where do you get your news from? A majority of them is like, oh yeah, Fox News.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? It makes perfect sense. Fox News is a social media website.
Yeah.
Young kids consume social media.
Well,
it's more like a blog.
Right-wing media is so smart because their fringe stuff is almost always like connected to the mainstream stuff. So Fox News is very much like friendly with the Daily Wire. They're friendly with Breitbart. They're friendly with InfoWars. Like they don't avoid each other the way that, I don't know, the gulf between the Young Turks and like MSNBC or something like that. Yeah. Like leftist media, you know, across the spectrum, whether we're talking about liberalism to full on communism, we don't touch each other. There's no crossover.
And then over there, they're all like,
oh yeah, it's a pipeline.
One huge cesspool. That's what it is.
Pipeline.
Well, this is a conversation that I want to have with CJ and Sam offline. I've been thinking about this week. I just finished Dan Pfeiffer's book about how do we turn this around? Like how do we do what Fox News has managed to do, which is infect millions and millions of Americans with these ideas that are, you know, how do we reach people in the same way? And he has some really clear ideas on that. And one of the things, the whole reason that Crooked Media, the company, not the concept, exists is because they recognized that they needed to make a sort of a left-wing version of all of the talk radio stuff that's been happening for decades, and you know, begin to counter that message with factual information, with a point of view that, you know, not try to be neutral. That, you know, that's journalism's job, even though they're failing miserably at it because they're not being honest. Being fair, being balanced doesn't mean being honest, right? So anyway, I think there's a place now for some sort of a media pipeline that does exactly what you're talking, which includes people that have a far left view of where I am, that includes people that may be more centrist than I am, and we begin to talk to everybody in a way that we haven't been. So
I just think fuck the Democratic Party, get rid of them. Honestly,
I mean,
that's
I
my.
can't do that. I can't go there.
Well,
Not
no,
yet.
I think really get rid of it, like in the sense of maybe don't get rid of the name Democratic Party, just fucking get rid of all of them. Anything that exists,
I mean,
all
you're
these,
talking about
because
like a
that's
clean house.
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
I'm
and
down with that
realistic.
message.
You know why the biggest issue in Florida? They've never had a strong Democratic Party. Why? Because they all
True.
fucking steal the money. They don't know what they're doing. It's nothing but a ceremonial phrase to say
Right.
that you're the chair of the Democratic Party, because
Right.
all it does is makes money for you personally, somehow, your businesses or whatever. You
Yeah.
know, and versus the GOP has always been strong because they find a way to make money, but they figured out that the way you make more money is by getting people elected. That's
Yeah.
what they do.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the Democrats don't understand that it's okay to think about it in a business aspect, because I don't know why. You know, at the end of the day, realistically, that's how you have to do it.
Democrats are not good at acquiring or wielding power. I mean, it's just a thing. We're not effective.
So I get rid of them.
Right. No, I'm
You know,
totally down for that.
Yeah, it's a whole, it's a culture thing. It's a mind thing. You know,
Of course.
Democrats, fall in love and Republicans fall in line. The age-old adage.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Well,
Right.
so when I think about that, like I see a way there that doesn't mean destroying the whole thing, because like several times I've gone to do an activism thing and we need to be doing this, and I find out somebody's out there already doing it. They're maybe not doing it as widely as we would like, and like the homeless thing is a particular part of my learning process there. Why isn't anybody doing this? Well, I find out somebody is doing that, but they're only able to serve like 12 or 15 people instead of the hundreds that need that kind of help. So rather than reinvent the wheel, right, what we need to do, the Democratic Party has a undeniably massive name recognition because they're on every ballot, every election, and just use the framework and replace the leadership of that framework. Like, I can't believe we ended up with a Democratic Party that didn't support a higher living wage for workers.
Right.
That's unfathomable to me that's what that their platform didn't include support for the $15 an hour minimum wage.
Yeah.
Democrats, are you fucking kidding me? So that's that's where I agree with you. That's the kind of thinking that has to go, that we have to engage the millions of Floridians that are making less than that and are renting their homes, and if they get pulled over, it's a crisis. If they lose their driver's license, there's no public transport.
Yeah.
Like, those people need to be better served. But the problem is they've become poisoned by the same bullshit that it's other poor people that are stealing from me. No, it's not. It's really not.
And I also believe they got to get rid of this "they go low, we go high" bullshit.
I agree.
Yeah, no, that's bullshit.
You got to get rid of it. Like, they don't, like, over here, the Democratic Party locally, and if you're listening, fuck you. They literally, the night before the election, were in their little safe space singing "Row, row, row your boat" to fucking nobody, all the way down. Roe v. Wade's not on the fucking ballot.
Yeah,
You idiot.
he's not kidding. They actually were doing that.
Wow.
It's not on the ballot. You know what is on the ballot? A few pretty extreme county commission candidates that are looking to ban abortions in Manatee County, even though there are no abortion clinics, that they're looking to help further support banning of books in the education system. ABC, that's what's on the ballot.
Right.
Again, it's this. And then, when I used to work with the party many years ago.
Yeah.
And the reason I stopped working, because they started getting upset with me because of the way that I run campaigns.
Right.
Like, well, you know what? I don't like to lose, so fuck you. And then I kind of, because really they're all a bunch of fucking losers.
Yeah.
That's what you are. When you can't get somebody elected, you are a fucking loser. And I don't like being a loser.
Boom.
I really don't. Now, you can't win them all, but you got to try. And what upsets me the most is they have the resources or access to them, the name recognition, the ability to be able to influence certain things. These motherfuckers haven't sent a press release in God knows how many years. I think I was the last one that wrote a press release about something, like 6 years ago. So again,
our friend Kelly Smith up here, who's run for office a couple of times, she was on the DEC as she was the president of the Democratic Executive Committee here, and she's been out of that position for 6 months. She gets a call a month or so ago from a state director saying, "Hi, Kelly, I want to talk to you about your plans for the DEC for this year." They didn't even know she wasn't the DEC president anymore. That's a bad starting position.
In an election year.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
In an
3 months out from the
election
primaries. This is not.
year.
This was like in
Yeah.
May, June. This is not long ago. This is
Right.
recently. And how do they not know who the DEC president is? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, 7:20. We did an hour.
Yeah, we did.
So there we go. CJ, welcome. Please come back. Join us anytime.
Absolutely, anytime. We're looking forward to continuing to consummate our relationship of sorts. Yeah, I know. Look, it's Sam. Look, he's already in the tank top, ready to
Oh
go.
yeah, I'm
He,
ready.
he, he already did it. He already had his daily bathing routine. He'll be all right.
Well,
No,
thank
but
you everybody for tuning in with us and joining us today.
thank
I know
you.
we got a little edgy today, but that's all right.
Well, edgy.
It's an edgy time. If you're not
It's
edgy right
election
now,
cycle.
I'm worried about
Yeah,
I'm worried about your sanity.
Uh-huh.
that's it.
So Sam, do you have
Thank you,
anything
guys.
coming up with Florida for Change that we need to talk about? Anything going on?
I do. I would love to share some stuff out. Let me quick share my screen again, real quick. So this is my main focus this week. This is ongoing. It just started today. We've talked a little bit about Andrew Joseph III on the show before, but for a reminder, if you've forgotten, Andrew Joseph was a young black child in Hillsborough County. He was taken from the state fair by Hillsborough
I saw
sheriff who were
this. Yeah,
investigating him for some kind of gang violence, which he was not involved with. He just happened to be young, black, and male in the area. And they interrogated this kid well into the night and then dumped him back on the side of the road on 275 at night. So he got hit by a car and he died, and no one was around to help him. So that happened in 2014. And the family is just now in trial trying to seek justice against the state fair, against the Hillsborough County sheriffs. It's happening right now. It's happening in our town. And as you can see, we had a lot of people that came out today that are supporting the Joseph family, great orgs like Restorative Justice Coalition, the Andrew Joseph Foundation itself. I believe Tampa CAC showed up, Black Lives Matter. Everyone's here, and they need people to show up outside the courtroom basically every single day, go into the courtroom even. It's an all-day affair. So if you can show up for an hour or two, give or take, please
I
do.
will say from experience that having presence in the courtroom means a lot. I
Yep.
mean, it really, and it's not so much about the judge. The judge doesn't fucking matter because all they do is they decide based on what the jury says what your sentencing is if you're found guilty of something. Or if
Yeah.
this is about a civil case, it's about damages. But
Right.
the jury will be persuaded depending on the level of support in that room. It's
Right.
just human nature.
And I'm seeing, just want to correct myself, it was actually I-4, not 275, which frankly is worse. I think it's worse to be dropped on the side of I-4 at night than I-275. Not that either of those are a good place to leave a child. And of course, an important detail that I forgot is that they removed the kid, didn't tell his parents. They did all that. They didn't tell the parents, and the parents found out when he was found dead.
Wow.
Yeah. So, there are so many layers of accountability that need to be held accountable.
Let me also say there are so many layers of kinds of involvement. If like going knocking on doors and talking to voters may not be your thing, but showing up and being supportive of a family that is in court trying to get justice for the child, maybe that is your thing. So find your lane. My friend Sam Runner reminds me there are many lanes on the highway to justice, right? Find your lane and get there. CJ, anything going on down in Manatee this week that you want to get the word out about?
Tomorrow we're doing the proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month at the County Administration Building, 8:30 in the morning. It's early.
That's wonderful.
If you want to come out, you're more than welcome to come and be part of the festivities. And then on so Thursday this week is my middle son's 8th birthday.
Nice.
And Friday is Nancy's birthday. I won't say her age because if I do, she might get mad. She does watch this. So.
You're gonna get the chanclet out of the
She
head.
But Nancy,
ageless
that's it.
and wonderful and
Old
beautiful
school
and all the
chancla.
good things.
But yeah, her birthday's on Friday, so we'll be celebrating them and their lives. Yeah, from August 15th to September 16th, I have no money because everybody has birthdays. Junior's the 15th, which you guys partook a bit with us for Junior's birthday. September 4th was Vanessa, which was last week, and then the 15th and 16th this month. So, a lot of celebrations going on in the house. So that's always a fun time.
Right on. Though I know that most of the people that follow me are in Pasco County, but if you're in Hillsborough County in the next week, I might be looking for canvassing volunteers in Tampa.
Oh ho ho!
Can't say much more about this right now, but I'm going to be active in at least one campaign down there, and I will be asking for some help. So if you're willing to go and learn how to canvass and talk to voters, give me a shout, send me a message, and we'll try and get you hooked up and involved. Because if you learn it, then you know it forever, and you're always useful for your campaign or the campaigns of other people that you want to see run.
That's right.
We need to do more than just vote. We're not gonna win anything if all we do is vote. We got to do more.
I agree.
So find your lane. All right,
Yes.
I love you guys very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you
Enjoy
to
your
the Patreon
evening.
supporters. Thank you to the law group. Thank you to our friend Kelly Smith, realtor, and we'll see you next week. What do we always say when we end the
Thank you,
show?
guys.
Sasquatch is real.